Today on the podcast, we have Sentnor, attacker for the Utah Royals of the NWSL, and freshly capped twice with the U.S. Women's National Team during the last camp. Allie is actually from my hometown of Hanson, Massachusetts, which is very exciting, everybody. Hanson is a pretty small town. Only about 10,000 people live there. Allie, I'm so excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the women's game.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. Okay, so I have been telling everybody who listens to this podcast for months that we're from the same town, and I feel like people are kind of like, okay, Sam, we get it. But I just need to talk about it a little bit more. Do you think it's crazy that we're all from Hanson?
It's insane. It's insane. I think I literally tell everyone. They're probably like, you're a Sam fan. I'm like, I know I am. I grew up being a Sam fan and a Christy fan. But I don't think people understand genuinely how small this town is.
I know. When I say 10,000 people, I'm like, it's literally so small, everybody, that when I heard there was this really good player, she's young, she's coming up in the youth national teams, I was kind of like, are you sure she's from Hanson? So I'm just so excited for all of us. I'm so excited for everybody from Hanson. And I actually, Allie, I want you to tell that story about, didn't you like get my old book in middle school?
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell that whole story? Like, what school was that? What book was it? And what happened?
So our schools are even tiny. So I think we had the same gym teacher, and she was like, do you know Sam? Like, of course I know Sam. And so in middle school, I walk into history class, and you get your textbooks, and I get my textbook, and you know how you sign it? I don't know if this is like too old.
No,
like you sign it so like everyone knows you used it that year, and I open it up, and I like am freaking out. I'm like, there's no way. It says Sam Ewis. And everyone next to me is like, okay, like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you guys don't understand. I'm like, she is on the national team. She's from this town. She is amazing. Like, you guys wish you had this textbook. And I went home, told my mom, and it's like one of my favorite stories.
Oh my God. I remember hearing that for the first time, and I literally was kind of just like, why are you using the same book I use? Like, haven't things been updated? I must be 10 years older than you.
They definitely haven't. Someone definitely has that same one.
That is so funny. I guess history is just history.
Yeah.
Okay, Allie, so we're both from Hanson. We've trained together around that area a couple of times. I remember training indoors with you at the South Shore Sports Center. Shout out to Hingham. It must have been the off season of like 2021. I'm thinking maybe I was coming back from like a knee surgery, and we were doing like technical like dribbling through cones, but we were racing. And I was like, oh my God, this girl is like so good and fast, and she's going to beat me. And you did beat me. Do you remember that?
I do remember you and Christy at the sports center doing technical drills, and Christy was so mad. We were doing technical drills. But it was so fun, and I was just happy to be there with you guys.
I know. It was really cool, I think, one, we're so desperate for like indoor places to train when we're home in Boston in the winter because it's so difficult to get any soccer touches in. But I remember talking to you a lot about like how you were balancing soccer and school. You were in high school at the time. You were playing, I think, like on a special training regiment to like prepare you for the next level kind of. Do you remember kind of what your typical schedule was like with school and soccer, and like what you were focusing on during that time to get better at soccer?
Yeah, well, the coach we actually trained with I was playing or training with his boys team. And so I still talk to him to this day, Dan. He is amazing, and I still do individual trainings with him for finishing, but I was kind of just doing whatever I could to keep myself at a level where there were people better than me and I was still improving. So I was training with the boys team like 3 times a week, and then playing with the girls on the weekend, and then doing extra finishing sessions because I was just soccer all the time and loved it. But training with you guys in that indoor facility, I was like, oh my gosh, it's finally not just me. Like, I have people to train with. This is awesome.
I know. It was so awesome. The other thing I really remember about it was how good you are at finishing and how good your shot from distance was, which is something that we really all got to see during your rookie season with Utah this year. We'll get into that in just a minute. But I do want to hear in your words, like, what kind of player do you think you are, and what do you think are your best assets?
Yeah, I think I grew up being the smallest player on pretty much every team I was on. And I was grateful to have a club environment that really didn't care about that and just let me play the way that I wanted to play. But I have a different style, I think, because I am a smaller midfielder and forward. So I was a lot more like dribble one-on-one, like quick trigger shots, because I was not going to go up for the header in the box. That was not me. I think Hanson joked when I came to UNC and I headed the ball in practice that was the first time he's ever seen me head the ball.
I mean, that's like kind of impressive that you were so good at everything else. You didn't even really have to worry about that.
Yeah, I mean, I am worrying about it now, but but it was not my strong suit. I was just very much like a quick, shifty player, but I think I really just the extra work that I did when I was younger, I really just focused on shooting and like focused on kind of perfecting, and it will forever be something I'm trying to perfect, but different types of shots from distance. It was just something I enjoyed so much, so I just did it all the time.
I mean, yeah, finishing really is the most fun. You just mentioned your college career at UNC, and I want to go back there. I know this is like a tough place to go back to, but literally just minutes into your first preseason game with UNC, you tore your ACL. What was that like? How did you even begin to process getting injured like that?
Yeah, I mean, I graduated high school a full year early actually to go to UNC because I was just so ready. I was so excited. Like I said, I just love being in environments where like I'm a little bit uncomfortable and I have to like perform at that level. So I was so excited. I'm like this little 17-year-old coming into college with wide eyes. I had the most amazing time over the summer just playing pickup and being a part of the team, and I ended up getting a start in my first game, which was crazy. And 10 minutes in, there's no one around me, and I just like go down. And I really didn't think anything of it because I've never been injured before. I've broken my wrist a couple times playing goalie, but other than that, like I was pretty smooth sailing. But I got an MRI a couple days later, and the worst news like any soccer player wants to hear is that you tore your ACL. And I kind of was like, me? Like, I did
Are
that?
you sure that's my MRI?
Like, are you sure? Because I was like walking around the other day. But I think having to sit out my entire first year of college was something I did not have on my future bucket list, but in the long run genuinely helped my career, which you can say after it, but it really did. And I learned like so much about myself and so much about how to be a good teammate and how to still impact when you're not playing 90 minutes on the field.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I do think that injuries and even sometimes like time away from the game or not playing the role that you want to on a team, there's always like a lesson in that. For such a young player, you said you were there a whole year early. That's crazy to imagine going through something so difficult. And I'm curious what those days of recovery were like for you. I actually remember watching some of your Instagram videos of your rehab. What was like the hardest part maybe, or what specifically did you go through in order to like get better during that year?
So I ended up posting like every month. I would post like all of my rehab videos on Instagram because one, it was just something where I was like, social media is kind of a highlight reel, but I wanted to keep it a little more vulnerable and just kind of so many people go through it that the day to day is not glamorous and like you don't just instantly come back. So I think I wanted to like share that with people and also just make myself feel better in the process as well. But I think the hardest part, and any player knows this going through an injury, is like when you're just doing the same exact lift for 6 weeks and you can't run and you can't put cleats on and like everyone else is out on the field, but you are doing the same stuff inside and like no one's really paying attention.
I know.
So it was so hard for me because I'd always been the person on the field and like I'd always been the person like who wasn't coming off the field, and it was I was finally on the sidelines every game.
Yeah.
And not in training, and you feel very unseen a lot of the
Yeah.
time. So it's so hard.
It's so hard. You feel really isolated. I think the hardest part, and again, everybody who listens to this podcast, I talk about my knee all the time, so I'm sure people know, but obviously towards the end of my career, I went through a very long knee injury. And I think when it really started to like hurt my soul was when I couldn't like do rondos with the team before practice. Like I couldn't, you know how like you'll juggle with your group of friends and like kind of mess around, and I was on like such a limited scope of what I could do that I like could never do anything fun. I had to just kind of like try and get through like one drill in training so that I'd stand on the sideline and do all my prehab and watch all my friends joke and laugh around and juggle. And I started being like, oh, I'm like really missing out. The injury just kind of like pulls you aside and isolates you. And it's really, really hard. So at your age and to do that in a new environment must have been incredibly difficult. You obviously got back on the field the following season. You ended up having 2 standout seasons with UNC. What would you say is your best college soccer memory?
I mean, we had a lot of hard moments at UNC, too, a lot of like heartbreak losses.
Oh,
But I would say some of my favorite memories at UNC with the team are like our comeback wins. I remember like the UNC culture is very much gritty and like never count you out of a game
mm-hmm.
sort of mindset. So I think some of my favorite memories are we're down 2-0, we're down 1-0, and we end up coming back and just scoring 3 goals in 8 minutes. And it's just like so exhilarating. And I just love being a part of a culture where like I never counted my team out of any game.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love when a player on a team can say clearly what the culture of their team is. And it sounds like UNC has kind of always had that. You made the decision to leave UNC early and enter the NWSL draft. Was that a difficult decision? What were some of the factors that went into that?
Yeah, it's to this day one of the hardest decisions I've had to make, and I made. I'm so lucky to have a support system around me that really talked me through the decision and gave me insight from all angles. And Anson and Damon were so supporting of me and the next steps in my career, so that really helped make the decision. But like I guess the theme of the whole thing is I was just ready to be in an environment where it was going to push me and that I was going to learn from the best players in the world playing in the NWSL and just play with and against those players. So I was just so excited. And so I knew I wanted to get my degree. So I made sure I was able to do that while I was playing. But I decided I was ready to see what the future was going to hold for my career.
Yeah, actually, I do want to mention that we're recording this right before you're going to graduate from college. Can you tell us what you're doing this weekend?
Yes, graduation is on Sunday. My parents fly in today. I couldn't be happier. I've been doing school online my whole rookie season, so it was a whirlwind. It was tough, but I'm just so happy to call myself Carolina alumni and have a college degree because that was super important to me when I made the decision to go to college.
That is so exciting. Well, congratulations. What did you end up majoring in?
I majored in advertising and public relations.
Oh my gosh, so cool. Well, amazing. Okay, congratulations on your graduation. So you left UNC, you entered the NWSL draft, you were selected first overall to the Utah Royals, which is so incredible. What did you know about the Royals ahead of the draft, and what was your reaction to being selected first?
Yeah, I mean, I had zero expectations going into the draft. I told my agent, I said, I just want a team that wants me and that wants me to be a part of the program.
Your agent was like, easy, done. Everybody wants you.
Well, I did not know this. And then I said, I just want an environment that is truly going to push me every day and make me a better player in person.
Yeah.
I really did not have a lot of expectations going into it. I didn't know until a few hours before the draft that Utah was going to draft me. So it really was kind of a whirlwind leading up to it. But I knew a couple girls on the team just from training around the NWSL. And honestly, I was so excited. I knew it was going to be super different, and it was definitely far away from family. So that was hard, but I am happy to be there, and like it's an amazing place, and I was just happy to be drafted, honestly.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. What are some things you like to do around Utah?
Yeah, I mean, we're still learning and figuring it out, but we go on a lot of walks. We did a couple of boat days on the lake during the summer.
Fun.
I personally don't like the soda shops, so please, Utah people, don't come after me. But very popular. My friends that have visited love them.
And okay, I'm like old, so like I don't actually know that much about this, but like I'm picking up that this is when you like go to a drive-through and you get like a Diet Coke with like other stuff in it.
Yeah, so I had never heard of them. They're called dirty sodas,
Yeah.
apparently. And they're like cream and syrup in soda. And there's a soda shop pretty much on every corner.
Well, that's crazy.
It's wild.
It's literally so crazy. Okay, that's Utah. So this 2024 was Utah's first season back in the league. Did you have any like specific nerves about going to an expansion team, like, or did you just like totally trust the process?
No, I mean, you hear stories of like people that have done it before, and it is hard because it's not an established team.
Right.
You have an entire new staff. People are either voluntarily coming there or getting picked up in a draft. So
Right.
everyone has a lot of different feelings coming in. So I tried to go in with a very open mind, but it's different, and it's not like the teams you had trained with before.
Yeah, you're like everything is still getting established. Like there might
Yeah.
not be a system or a process for everything yet, and you kind of have to like not make it up as you go along, but figure it out as you go along. You had a really positive season with Utah. You scored 3 goals, you got 4 assists, despite Utah's difficult season coming in 11th with 7 wins. And I did want to say, my rookie year, I had a difficult season with Western New York. We didn't make playoffs, but it taught me so much about what it takes to be a professional. It kind of like rallied our team together. I think going through a difficult season where there were so many questions asked, there were so many challenges thrown our way, really bonded us, and it set me up to have more success in the years to come. I'm curious if you remember any of the challenges your team faced this season and what you guys did together to overcome them.
An amazing season wrapped all in one in a huge roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's what I've been telling everyone, honestly. And all credit to the girls on the team because we stuck together through every single up and down. And they're just an incredible group of girls. And I've never really seen a team stick together like that through everything that we went through. I have never been on a team that has lost multiple games in a row. So it was definitely hard.
Yeah.
I was struggling a little bit. But like you said, you really do learn a lot about yourself and about just the ups and downs of being a professional. So I think like losing a lot of games and I'm a person that loves being on the ball. So when our team didn't have the ball for 70% of the game, it was really hard.
Yeah.
And I think you learn, first of all, definitely how to defend. But you learn how to try to manage a game and come from behind a lot, which I wasn't used to. So you learn so many things that you wouldn't if you were on a successful winning team. And then you also learn how to like turn a season around because by the end of the season, we were winning some games, we were playing great style of soccer. So it really was a roller coaster.
Yeah, I actually think that sounds incredible. And honestly, your perspective on it is so impressive. But I imagine a lot of NWSL players and especially national team players have really only ever been on successful teams like throughout their childhood and adolescence. And then for you to get exposed to something different and something new made you a more well-rounded player in person. And I think that that's actually so like something that rookies and young players should seek out is how to grow into new areas like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I was lucky enough to play a lot of minutes too, so I just gained so much experience, which I'm so thankful for.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, you ended up as a finalist for Rookie of the Year, which was so deserved. How are you looking to build on a really successful rookie season as you start thinking about 2025?
Yeah, I mean, that was just incredible. And I think all the rookies did such a great job this year. So being in that select group of people is just an extreme honor. And I think just going into next year, I was really learning the league and learning how to be a pro and just the day to day and kind of what it takes to play against every single amazing player in the league. So I think going into next year, I'm really excited to just like refine everything I did this year because I think a lot of the time I was just working as hard as I can and doing like anything and
Yeah.
everything. So going into next year and really refining the position I'm playing and being just that much better in the areas that I started to learn about this year. And it's honestly just exciting.
Oh, that's so exciting. I can't wait to watch. Well, I want to pivot and talk about the national team a little bit. So I know that earlier this year, you went to your second U20 World Cup. That tournament was in Colombia in September, just a couple of weeks after the U.S. women's national team won the gold medal at the Olympics. And Allie, you captained this U20 team. You led the team to a third place finish with 3 goals. Third place is awesome, obviously, but I
Yeah.
imagine that tournament was also wrought with challenges. As a leader, this was like you have a lot of experience with the youth national teams. How did you handle that role on this U20 team this year?
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I had gone to my first U20 World Cup, and the first game we played at the World Cup was my third game back from my ACL. So I was in a very different position going into that World Cup. I was one of the younger girls on the team. I was just coming back, so I wasn't playing at the full potential that I had before, but I was really just learning from the people around me, trying to give everything I can to the team and just being there. And I think then going into this one, I just had a completely different role and I was able to hopefully help a lot of the girls having experience from the previous World Cup. And I was the oldest person there. So it was just a completely different experience. But like the group of girls we had there was amazing. Just a tight knit group who was gritty. We were down in so many games and like I was saying before, just would not have counted that team out of any game. And the Germany game definitely sealed that in our it was the quarterfinals to make it to the semifinals. We're down 2-0 with 2 minutes left and ended up tying it. And I think that was probably one of the craziest soccer experiences I've ever been a part of.
Oh my gosh, that is so wild, but so cool. What was the
Yeah.
transition like? You said you were the oldest player on this team. Obviously, you were one of the youngest, if not the youngest, on Utah. What was the transition like going in back and forth between those two teams?
Yeah, and I was telling some of my Utah teammates, because I very much was just learning and being a sponge and taking everything in from them. But I told them, I was like, thank you guys for being great leaders because I feel like I took so much from the girls on my team when things weren't going well and what they were doing into the World Cup.
Yeah.
And it was just different. Like at Utah, I was the one doing the gritty work and following the veterans on my team. And then I was able to be that veteran on the 20s, hopefully leading by example and showing these girls like this is what we need to do to win. So it was honestly amazing and I love both roles, but I just loved being a part of that group and helping lead some of the younger girls who have another World Cup in 2
Right.
years that they can be a part of.
That is so amazing. I feel like you literally just like checked so many boxes this year of like roles you had to play and things you had to learn. So I'm like so impressed and amazed. I also feel like my Youth World Cup experience actually really set me up for success at the senior level. I think that FIFA's like tournament setting, being familiar is really helpful. Like traveling internationally, living in a hotel with your teammates, being on the road for weeks at a time. You've had that experience, and I'm curious as you got called into your first full U.S. women's national team camp just last month, did you feel prepared and ready for that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're ever fully prepared for it. I was freaking out. But I think just having come off the World Cup, I had just been in an environment where we do the daily wellness and we have
Mm-hmm.
all of our meals together and the training times are the same. So having just been there, it really did help. And playing at an international level, it's just so different than the NWSL. So I had that little bit of experience where probably some of the girls that we played there were also at getting their first call-ups with their full teams. So it definitely helped prepare me, but I also learned so much just being in that environment.
Yeah, definitely. Did Emma call you to tell you were coming in? Like, how did you find out?
No, I got an email.
I love asking this. Was the email from the team coordinator?
Yes.
And you just like got it and you were like, oh my God.
Well, no. So I was training at Utah. I knew it was maybe a possibility, but I was kind of like, I'm just training for fun. And I was getting a massage after training. So like my face is down in the little circle, like my phone's on the floor. And all of a sudden, like there's some knocks on the door and our GM had called me and I'm like, hey, I'm at my massage, I'll call you later. And she's like, okay, come down, knocks on the door. There's like my head coach, my GM, my trainer, and like some other people like standing outside the door. I'm like, hey guys, what did I do wrong? And they're like, check your email. I'm like, okay, I'm in my massage, but sure. And so I check my email. I like jump off the table. I'm like, no way. There's no way. And I called my dad. We were crying. Like, it was just one of those things where it's a dream come true. Like, that was my big dream since I was 12. And so it was just amazing. But I had no idea. I had no thoughts of that I would be doing.
That is so cute. I like have little tears. That was really, really sweet.
I know.
I love that. Well, you got to make your debut in that first camp in front of 78,000 people at Wembley Stadium in England, which is so crazy and scary. How did you feel about that? Did Emma call you to go in? Like, what were you feeling subbing in?
Well, I was sitting on the bench with my blanket around me, just kind of chilling. I'm like, the girls are doing great. I'm like hoping we're getting a goal at the end of the game. Like, I am genuinely happy to be there. And all of a sudden, the assistant coach calls me off the bench. She's like, you're going in.
Ah!
What? It's the 85th minute. I'm like, what? I get up, I like rip my pants off and my jacket and everything, and they're telling me what position I'm playing, and
oh my God.
And she's like, go see Emma. I'm like, really? Like, you weren't kidding? And so Emma's talking to me, and you probably saw the video. She's like, go run your socks off. I'm like, I will. And I look up and just see all of these people in the stands, and I will never forget that like screenshot in my head, because it was a dream, but to do it in front of those people, to play with the girls that I've looked up to my whole life, it was genuinely like I was shaking.
I know. That is such an awesome story. The thing that I always think about, like, not even just my early days in the national team, like way deep into my career, is subbing in late in the game and somebody's showing you all the set pieces on a little piece of paper. And they're like, well, she's subbed off, so she's over here. And then this other sub is going in with you, so she's on here on corner kicks. And you have to like remember it all and then like communicate it when you get out there. And it's like kind of too much to ask one person to do.
Well, I'm like getting the set pieces in from the goalkeeper coach, and he's like, well, this person goes there and you have to tell that person their back post because now you're the short person. And I'm like,
excuse me?
I've just met these people. So I'm going on. I remember I told Sam Coffey, I'm like, Sam, can you remember this for me? And she's like, tell me later. I'm like, okay. And we were joking about it after the game, but I'm like trying just not to trip out there. Like, I can't remember set pieces.
You're just like praying that you don't have to do a defensive corner kick. Like, please.
Exactly. God. Which we did.
It's so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's scary.
When the game ended and you finally got to like take a deep breath, how did you feel to have gotten your first cap and kind of have that milestone done?
It was crazy, and Alyssa Thompson was there, and she got her first cap at Wembley, so they were like, we took a picture of us, and it was honestly a cool, surreal moment, because we had gone to the World Cup together two years before.
Oh, cute.
And everyone was just so sweet and so happy for me, even though I had met them that week. Like, it was just genuinely a surreal moment, and my parents were there. They were able to come over, so I got to see them, and I just felt like on top of the world.
I'm so happy for you. I was literally so proud Christy and I did like a reaction to the game, like right here at my little studio. And we talked about you for so long. We were just so proud.
Oh,
Our little Hanson
sad you guys weren't there. Obviously, that would have been epic. But
we both would have loved to be there. We honestly would have loved that so much. That would have been so fun. Okay, well, now that we're back on the Hanson topic, this is perfect timing. This is literally so goofy, Allie. I like have no idea if this is going to be fun or not, but we're going to do our Olipop Gut Check of the Week, and it's going to be a quiz about our hometown of Hanson, Massachusetts.
I love it.
Okay. First things first. How many Dunkins are there in Hanson?
3?
I'm so glad you said 3 because there's only like documented 2, but then there's that one in the Hess gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
So we think it's 3.
Train station, town hall, and that other one. Yeah.
And okay, I'm so glad you said that. If you had said 2, I was going to just ignore the gas station one, but I think it's 3.
No, it's there.
Okay, there's 3 Dunkins in Hanson. Okay, next question. This sounds kind of nerdy, but I think if you think about it, you'll get it. There is a really well-known brand that was founded in Hanson in 1930. Think about like, there's like a lot of swampy area and bogs.
Oh, Ocean Spray.
Yeah!
I should have gotten that.
I know. It's the 1930 throws you off because you're like, what?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, next question. Name 3 towns that border Hanson.
Whitman, Pembroke. Is that one?
Yeah.
And Abington?
Abington definitely does.
Brockton?
Oh, I don't know if Brockton does. Abington definitely does. It's not on my list, but it definitely does.
Okay. Pembroke?
Yeah, you already said Pembroke.
Oh.
I think you're close enough. I hope Abington is right.
Okay.
The other ones on my list were Rockland, Hanover, and East Bridgewater.
Oh,
and Halifax.
There's too many.
But Abington definitely does.
It might.
Okay, so you're crushing it. You know Hanson so well. Okay, this is a multiple choice. What land feature is Hanson known for? Forest, lakes and ponds, farmland, or coastal beaches?
Forest?
I think the answer was lakes and ponds, but like, whatever.
What, the Hanson Town Pond?
Well, that's actually was going to be my next question.
Oh, definitely is Camp Kawani.
That literally you just named my next 3 questions.
Oh!
I was going to say, what's the name of the camp? And I know you were going to say,
Kawani.
Yep. And then I was going to say, name a pond.
Hanson Town Pond.
I think there's an official name for it.
Oh, gosh. A pond.
But I actually don't know. Is it Wampatuck?
Is that the Hanson Town Pond?
I don't know.
There is one, Wampatuck, I think.
There is definitely one called Wampatuck, and then the other ponds are called McQuan and Indian Head, which is what the schools were named after, I think.
Yeah, those are the elementary schools. You know, they just tore down McQuan.
I did hear that. I went there.
Oh.
I know.
Wait, I went there too.
Well, maybe. Was that where my book was?
No, your book was at Indian Head.
Oh, okay.
Or middle school.
Or Hanson Middle. Okay, fair enough. It was okay. The last... Oh, yeah, we have confirmation that Wampatuck is Hanson Town Pond, so we got that one right. I love that we're just working together, even though I do have these answers in front of me. Yeah. This is the last one. I don't know if you're going to know this one. There's a really famous old TV show that filmed an episode in Hanson in the 90s.
Oh, my gosh.
It's like a murder mystery show.
That's pretty cool, I guess.
Somebody's telling me it's more like Aliens than murder mystery, which like clearly I haven't seen it.
No chance.
It was the X-Files.
Oh, there was no chance.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, you did really great, and thank you so much for like humoring me with a random Hanson quiz. I'm
kind of sad there wasn't one about Damien's in there.
My producer told me to bring up Poopsie's too, but I was like, Poopsie's not in Hanson, and I should have brought up Damien's.
But Damien's, what's your favorite Damien's pizza?
We used to get, but obviously buffalo chicken with blue cheese on the side.
Yeah, we would do the BLT.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
Well, the other pizza place I was going to bring up.
The Fenway was good too.
Oh, what's that one?
It's peppers, onions, and sausage.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
The other pizza place I was going to bring up was Venus, but that's in Whitman. But then we have Venus 3 in Hanson.
No, I'm a Venus girl too.
Yeah.
That was my like school lunch. special school lunch.
I know the soccer team at Whitman Hanson, me and Allie went to different high schools, but the soccer team at Whitman Hanson used to always go to Venus and get pizza after school.
Well, we did your watch party for the 2015 World Cup.
Oh, well, I wasn't on that team, but 2019. Yeah.
2019. We did it in 2019 at Damien's.
Ah!
We literally had like Sam signs at Damien's for your watch party.
I think I remember seeing pictures of that. That's so cute. Oh my God, Allie, this was so much fun. The Hanson quiz was lols. I'm so happy for you that you're graduating. I am so excited for you to have a little break over the holidays, and then I can't wait to watch you play more next year. I'm like your biggest fan over here.
You. Oh my gosh, this was made my year. I'm just like so happy I am able to be on here.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was seriously so much fun.
Yes, I had a blast.
Yay! Thank you all so much for listening. I loved chatting with Allie. She said something like, this made my whole year. And honestly, it made mine too. It was such a cherry on top of a really great year to get to have my last Friendlies interview be with somebody from Hanson, Massachusetts, somebody who's so sweet. I just love her so much. She's so talented and clearly has such a good head on her shoulders. So I'm just really proud of Allie and happy that we have such an important connection. I'm a big fan and I'm definitely along for the ride of her career. We have that insanely silly holiday special dropping for you all on Monday. I promise this is one that you do not want to miss. So please make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast feed or the YouTube channel, and you'll be notified when that episode drops. You can also follow along with us on social media. There will be some very funny clips from that episode. So we're at Women's Game MIB on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, and now we're on Blue Sky as well. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for such a great year, and we'll see you soon.